Well, greetings everybody. Welcome back to another Football Manager video. This is Football Manager 2007 and it's something a bit different. So I got sacked from my job as St Johnstone manager and I decided to holiday 8.5 years into the future. We're in 2023 as you can see down the bottom right here, and I'm going to see how they've done. I'm going to see like who's won what in the world of football, and yeah, just try and get a general idea of the landscape of the world of football 8.5 years after I got sacked. The reason I chose 8.5 years is simply because I was in charge of St Johnstone for 8.5 years, so it's like double the time from the start of the game as I played basically. And later on in the episode we might, if I've got time, and it's going to take me many hours, but what I'm planning to do is to start 10 new games, and I'm going to simulate 8.5 years in those 10 new games, and I'm going to see how St Johnstone do, and then compare that with my own track record to see if I was on par with that, or if I exceeded that, you know, what the AI could do basically. That is the plan. I guess first of all, let's see what league St Johnstone are in. So I managed them for 7.5 years in the Premier League, and as you can see, they're not there. Now I know that they did get relegated the season I got sacked, because I obviously had to holiday because I was managing Scotland that year. As you can see, Alloa are in the SPL, which is pretty amusing, pretty funny. You know, if that happened in real life, it'd be pretty cool. Livingston are there, although I feel like they were there already when I was there. Dundee were there as well. Let's move down. St Johnstone should be... Ooh, so St Johnstone got relegated from the first division. So in some ways, it seems like there's been a bit of a fall from grace, but we mustn't judge yet. For all I know, they could have won the Champions League in the last 8.5 years, and this is just the... This is them at rock bottom. There's East Stirling there. What other SPL teams are here? Former SPL teams. Hibs, Cali and Falkirk are the only ones here. Gretna have got promoted again, so they must have got relegated at some point. Let's see, what else do we have? Ross County are down the bottom here, but I don't think there's anything new there. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to, I guess, the season that I got sacked, which was 14-15. So as you can see, St Johnstone did get relegated then. So let's drop down to the first division. 15-16, how did they do? St Johnstone got promoted again. So the season after I got sacked, they were promoted immediately. Now this is the big one. So I managed to keep St Johnstone in the top flight for 8 years technically. How did they do? So this would be what? This would be 16-17. What happened to St Johnstone? They got relegated immediately. So I managed to avoid relegation for 7 years, but immediately St Johnstone went down. So this now goes to 16-17, 17-18. What happened? Oh, so all of a sudden St Johnstone have become a yo-yo club. It's gone from up, down, up, down, up, down. What else? Let's go back to the Premier League. We're going to 18-19, let me guess. Yep, they got relegated. Let's go back down here. 18-19, 19-20. Okay, so this is the first time that they don't either get promoted or relegated in like 5 years or something like that. They finished mid-table in 6th position. If we go to 2021 season, that's 1920, so that's the season we're in currently. 2021, we finished 7th in the first division, so that's one place worse off. 21-22, 5th place, so again, kind of mid-table. Current season, relegated, down. That is the extent to which we have fallen from the heights that I had us at. Might be a bit ego boosting, but that does make me feel a bit better that the managers that came after me couldn't keep St Johnstone in the top flight, in contrast to myself. Not only did I manage to keep them in the top flight for 8 years, I got us a top 6 finish. So, I got us into Europe. So I mean that's nothing to be sniffed at in my opinion. So this is making me feel better. This is good. This is really putting into context my achievements. Limited resources, couldn't attract the right players. Although, do we still have the good training facilities? yeah, top training facilities are still there. Paul Huntington, Nathan Forbes, Jim Weir, they're all still favoured personnel. I think some people might have got removed from favoured personnel. I was never favoured personnel. I don't know why, but there you go. Let's have a look at landmarks, maybe. So, hired JamestheDouglas. Where did I get sacked? Manager. Oh, that was Nigel Worthington was my assistant manager. That's why he left. Sacked JamestheDouglas and then hired Paul Sturrock. Paul Sturrock used to manage St Johnstone in real life back in the 90s. As you can see, though, it was Paul Sturrock that oversaw relegation, which he can't really be blamed for, given it was my team. But then he got them promoted, got them relegated, got them promoted. How many promotions is that? 1, 2. So 3 relegations and 2 promotions he got, and then he resigned. He was probably just fed up. Relegation again. Couldn't keep St Johnstone. So I did better than Paul Sturrock. Eat your heart out, Paul Sturrock. Kenny Docherty was hired. He then resigned just about a year later. So that was a mid-table finish. Neil Cooper, he was hired. Athol Henderson resigned. He was a staff member. And Neil Cooper was sacked in 2022. That was this season. So that must have been when they were getting relegated. And as you can see, we were actually League Challenge Cup runners-up in the 21-22 season. So I did win that competition. So they got close. And at time of recording, or at time of the game we're in, Craig Levine, of all people, is manager of St Johnstone. I don't know why I clicked on it. I'm not sure if the loading times are this slow just because it's... the database file can't be that large. Here we go, Craig Levine. He's in charge of the Scotland under-19s as well, maybe? Not sure. But yeah, he's obviously it says regional manager, so it's not like he's a hugely more reputable manager than I was. But that's pretty cool. So there's how St Johnstone did while I was gone. So there you go. There's confirmation of the domestic league. 12th place, 35 points, 30 points. How many did I get the first season when I narrowed? 32. So Craig Levine did exceed my points tally once. In fact, my points tally was exceeded in the season we got relegated, my lowest points tally. So I could have gone down that season, but thankfully I didn't. However, I did manage to keep us up for that long and create a bit of stability. It was just that one last season that really created problems for us. How did we do in the Scottish Cup? Let's see, so 14-15 lost in Scottish Cup quarter-final. That was after I got sacked. Third round, we got to Scottish Cup semi-final. That was something I didn't achieve, so fair play. The AI did better then. League Cup, did we get to any League Cup semi-finals? Doesn't look like it. Second round, that was when I got knocked out. It's just second round, third round. We got to a quarter-final this season. Challenge Cup, we won it. That was the first season that I was in charge, and then after that, we just kept getting knocked out in the first round. Got to the final once. Who did we lose to? East Fife. Wow, East Fife first division team. That's not to be sneered at. And we've not qualified for the Euro Cup since we got thrashed by Monaco. Brilliant. So that is the how St Johnstone have done. Actually, let's double check any players that are still there. Nathan Forbes is still there. He's 32 now. How's his goal record? I bet he's had a much better goal record. So he scored 2 goals in the first season that I was here, or the first season that I signed him. 2 goals in the second, or 3 technically if you're counting all competitions. Let's count all competitions. So 4, 3, and then the season I got sacked, he scored 3. Didn't play much. Then the next season, 12, but that was in the first division. Then back in the SPL he got 11, 9 in the league. Back in the first division he got 22. Then so he got double figures in the league, double figures in all competitions. I could never get him into double figures, and that was when we got relegated. And then laterally he's kind of tailed off, but that's mainly because he's probably getting old. Maybe he's more of a bit part player. So Nathan Forbes is still there. Anybody else that I recognise? Doesn't look like it. Let's go to transfers. Let's see what's happened to everyone else. So 14-15 was my final season. Transfers out. Let's have a look. So this guy, Fabrice Lagol, has ended up at Killy. Who's he played for? So this guy only played for me for a season, as you can see, but he played for Aberdeen, played for this team here, back at Aberdeen. He was on loan there. That must be a feeder team. Crystal Palace in the Championship for a bit, didn't do so well. He went to Celtic. So he's been around a bit. Felipe Moreira's retired, as is Danny O'Donnell, Mark Brown, Jay Shields. Most of these guys will have retired. Adriano Costa, he's at Malaga. Yeah, he was a really good player. He's 31. He played for FC Copenhagen for a few years. Got really good ratings. He had one bad year, so they sold him for free to Malaga, and he's hit top form again. And I don't know what league Malaga's in because I don't have the Spanish leagues loaded. Gary Mason is a coach, I would presume, or physio, given that his profile's still there. Frankie Balfour, this is interesting. St. Pat's Athletic. So he basically never scored. He scored like a few goals for us. In fact, he might not have scored any goals for us. Did he ever score? Yes, he was all a prospect and he never scored. So he played for Burnley in League One, didn't score. Scored his first career goal, other than his loan spell at Stennismuir, came in the 16-17 season in League One. He then got 5 for Walsall, and then as you can see, his goal tally skyrocketed as soon as he moved to Ireland. So that's interesting. Steve Rushford, this was a good player. Yes, so as you can see, he got transferred to Spurs. How much did he get transferred for? 120? What? 120? Like, come on. Okay, so I know I got sacked, but I was astute enough to negotiate 2.5 million from Arsenal for Richard Lamont back in the day. How on earth did they let him go for just 120k? He was a really good prospect, and as you can see, he's ended up at Celtic. So he played at Spurs, didn't get any games, went on loan, came back, got some games, and then he moved to Celtic. He must have got released. It doesn't have a fee there. Went to Southampton on loan. Since then, he's just played for Celtic. His ratings aren't actually that great, but in terms of his achievements, he's not actually won anything. Interesting. He's maybe just like he's a rotation option, so he's obviously not first team, but still, like, he's not a bad player. I mean, look at his stats. Richard Lamont is someone I want to see. How old is he actually? He's 26, so he's just hitting his peak now. He only got 2 assists, though. 2 man of the matches. It's not great. Richard Lamont, how's he done? He's Real Madrid. Oh, man. That is crazy. So he went to Arsenal, negotiated I sold him for 2 million. It doesn't have the fee there, incidentally, but he played 1 game for Arsenal that season, or a few games. He then had a few loan spells, and then he was transferred. Well, then he played 13 odd games for Arsenal, and then he's been transferred to Real Madrid. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. He's won the European Cup. He's been runner-up in the European Cup. He's probably won La Liga. Did he have any other first international cap? Did I give him that? Yeah, I gave him that. Wigan, Arsenal. He won the European Under-21 Championship. Interesting. I didn't know we won that. That was, I think that was before I was manager. Right before I was manager, because I became manager later that month, or no, a month later. Anyway, so yeah, this guy's been playing for Real Madrid. How's his? I wish I could see all his stats, but because I'm in a minimised window, I can't. But you can't use these scroll down tabs. But either way, look at that. 7.38 for Real Madrid. He must have won the league as well, but it won't show that. I don't have the leagues loaded. So he's 30, 43 caps for Scotland. Not bad. Yeah, look at that. That's unbelievable. Is his personality still unambitious? Yeah. Definitely not going to remain in football once he finished his playing career. Interesting. Cool. So a lad for Perth, Scotland, ended up at Real Madrid. What a story that is. And he speaks Spanish as well. Chubuezi, what happened to him? He's at Crystal Palace. He's joining Real Mallorca in the summer. How old is he? Must be 30 now. Yeah, he's got on a bit. So he was sold immediately. Charlton, Scunthorpe, Charlton Borough. Has he won much? He's been relegated and promoted a few times. Yeah, he's English Championship winners. Wait, hang on. He got a cap against Uruguay. Oh, okay, so he's got 20 caps for Nigeria. That's cool. Paul Dixon's retired. Okay, so that's interesting seeing some of the regens, how they got on. James Brown, most of these guys will have retired. Stephen Willits is still out there, still at Kilmarnock. Actually, how much did Chibueze got sold for 200k, Paul Dixon for 500k. Okay, so they did slightly better. I feel like they could have got more for these guys, though. Belsvik is still around. He got transferred to Rangers. Since then, he's been at Norwich. He's had 2 caps for Norway. I don't remember if he had them before he arrived at Saints. Played the Premier League for Rangers. Championship. This is cool. Who else? Ismaily's retired. David Wheater's retired. Chris Morris is still out there. He's in Kilmarnock reserves. Paul Huntington's retired. Stevie Milligan's retired. He was released. Morton Olsen, we didn't really see much of him. But he's ended up at Charlton in the Premiership. Kirk Broadfoot is still around, although... Oh yeah, defender. Kirk Broadfoot's still around at the age of 38 at Rushden and Diamonds. So yeah, he's played a fair bit. It's weird. Most of my squad, it seems, were sold. Grant McCarthy, what happened to him? He's ended up at Crewe. Yeah, he wasn't a bad player. I don't rate him highly, but yeah, League 2, League 1, that's a fair level. Neil Watson has ended up at Alloa in the Premier League. That's pretty cool. Cambridge, he was immediately transferred to Alloa. Look at his scoring record, though, in League 1. That's not bad. Genuinely, it's not bad. John Harrop has ended up at Rangers. He got transferred to West Brom for 180k. Come on, you could have done better than that. You could have done much better than that. 180k. He was a really, really good keeper. This guy, Quintana, ended up back in Spain after spells in Scotland. Clint Van Steel, they've all retired. That was a Greek guy. Espanyol. Did he play for any bigger teams? Espanyol's a decent sized team. Played for Gretna, Granada, and Heart of Midlothian. Did alright. Yeah, it's interesting seeing some of these guys. Kerr Campbell, how did he do? He's at Darlington. Look at that scoring record, though. 20 in the conference. This guy's way too good for conference level, surely. He was my best player the season I got sacked. So yeah, played League 1, First Division and all that. That's intriguing stuff. What's his stats like? Yeah, look at that. 15 jumping, 15 heading, 14 heading, sorry. 17 heading, sorry. Keep misreading it. He's a really good player. 28 now, capped at under 19 level. Is there any other players here that I recognise? Max Noble has retired. That's the only other name I recognise there. Look at the turnover of players, jigs. I think most of these... Kevin Young, he was a player. East Fife, so he ended up at First Division level. Played League 1, League 2. He's not really been a prolific goal scorer like I assumed he would be. Got 10 in the First Division. The season prior to the one that's just gone. Danny Sanchez left. So Danny Sanchez was at the club for a long time. I wish I could see his history now. But yeah, he must have been there for almost 10 years. Jigs, I hope he got a testimonial. Alistair Brown left. He's a scout now. He got sold to B Jerusalem. David Whitworth, what happened to him? Alloa reserves. How good was he, actually? Because I didn't really play him that much. Yeah, he wasn't that good at Premier League, First Division level. Yeah, he wasn't that good, unfortunately. It's just one of those ones. Maybe it was just consistency that ruined it for him. Don't see anyone else that I immediately recognise. Well, I recognise a lot of these names, but that's just because they're like real players that I've seen in the game and I know in real life and all that. Not personally, obviously. Right, I think we'll... Oh look, Emmanuel Frimpong played for Saints at one time. So what we're going to do is we might as well have a look and see who's won all the cup competitions in Scotland, and then we'll have a look at the world ones. So let's have a look at the Premier League. Past winners, I'm presuming it's Celtic and Rangers. No, it hasn't been. Dundee United have dominated. Except for this season though. This season was won by Celtic. Look at that. Dundee United have won 4 in a row. Celtic before that won, what's that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 in a row. And then Dundee United won 4 in a row. Rangers have been nowhere. Where have they... What's happened to them? I mean, I know they've got large history, but recently, though, when I got sacked, they were doing pretty badly. They finished 4th. Look at that, they finished as low as 10th. Got a few second place finishes recently. Maybe they're going to get back to the big time at some point. Scottish Cup, who's won that? Past winners. Okay, mixture of teams. St Mirren retained it. Motherwell, Gretna's up there. It's been years. Well, Celtic have won it once in the last, what's that, 10 years, almost 9 years? And no Old Firm teams lost a final since 2012. Interesting. League Cup, how's the League Cup going? Past winners, well, we saw there Celtic won it. Not many teams, not many teams retain it. And there's a good mix of teams in there. Dundee United, Kilmarnock, Hibs, Hearts, St Mirren are in there as well. St Mirren must be a good team. They're third, yeah, they must have a very good team. Might as well have a look at the Challenge Cup, although I only competed in it once. And of course, the winners will tend to be different. Oh, look, yeah, there's where we were runners-up. There's where we won it prior. Dunfermline retained it, Motherwell's in there, Stenhousemuir. What league are they in? Second division. I wonder if they were in the second division that season. Queen of the South won it. Brilliant. Let's have a look at the World Cup. There's only been about a few World Cups, but let's see who's won it. Mexico won it in 2022. England, unfortunately, won it in 2018. Argentina retained it. Argentina becoming the first nation to retain the World Cup since Brazil in 1962. Right, let's have a look at the European Championships. That comes under international. I appreciate this video is getting quite long. I think we're going to have to save that other video, that other idea for later in this episode for another time. England won it, Spain won it twice in a row, France won it. Not bad, good going. Let's have a look at the European game. Real Madrid won it, so that's Lamont's team. Real Madrid, Inter, Chelsea won it a few times. Barcelona won it a few times. Yeah, it's all the usual suspects. Reputation, league reputation doesn't change in these versions, so generally you don't really have much chance of other teams from other leagues winning it, unfortunately. I mean, I guess Sporting Lisbon's, well, mind you, this is set in 2007, 2006, and I guess the gap between the Portuguese league and other leagues wasn't as big, but that's still a pretty big feat for them. I guess it's a big feat for anyone to win the European Cup. Past winners of the UEFA Cup, Southend United, I saw that one. Southend United won the UEFA Cup, sorry. Let that sink in. Bayern, Arsenal, Valencia, and then you've got teams runners-up. Real Madrid came runners-up. Sunderland and Sampdoria came runners-up. Awards, what awards do we have? What awards? Footballer of the Year, I guess. Let's have a look at the recent one. Roberto Lombardi. Yeah, looks like a decent player. He's obviously a striker. Wonder if any non-strikers won it. Bob White. Wait, hang on a minute. Bob White. He was in my Scotland team. Bob White, who was in my Scotland team, won Footballer of the Year. So who did he sign for? I can't even mind who he played for. He played for Chelsea. Then he moved to Liverpool. Then he moved to AC Milan. Since then, he must have won the Champions League. Yeah, there you go. Won the European Cup. Won the Premier League. First Scotland cap. Not given to me, given to by me, but I did give him a few of his Scotland caps. Have Scotland qualified for a major tournament. We can click on Scotland down there, see what they've done. Competitions and European Championships. Yep, we qualified for the European Championships in 2020. Did we qualify for... We didn't qualify for the World Cup though. So I got us to... Was it that one? Third? I think that was my one. Records. How about records? Let's have a look at... I guess SPL records. Let's see, most time winners, Rangers, it's irrelevant because they're rubbish at the moment. In game, that is. Just want to make that clear. Most team points. Most team goals is Celtic. Were we lowest attendance? St Johnstone versus St Mirren. I was in charge for that game, I don't remember that. Most games lost in a row. That was a season I didn't get sacked. Most games without winning. Neither was that. That was the season that I saved us from relegation. So 2 records that I made still stand. Most man of the matches, still Lord Bentner. Tom Hall was the youngest player to feature against us, though. It wasn't our player. So those are the key records there. Well, what about the St Johnstone records? Let's have one last look at that. And then we're out of here. I don't think there's any... Oh, richest clubs. That's a new feature that we should take advantage of. Chelsea are up there. Southend United are up there as expected. Any Scottish teams? Celtic, Rangers. Don't know why. Oh, I guess Rangers are. They get loads of fans still probably. A few Brazilian teams up there. A few American teams. Interesting. Right, yeah. Let's finish off with a few St Johnstone records. Third in the Premier League is the highest finish. Mine was 5th. 10th in the first division is the lowest finish. That was not done by me, I should point out. Highest attendance, okay, that's 1951. Highest gate receipts, that was for a European game. Lowest attendance was in a game against East Stirling. Highest average attendance, that was 2011-2012. I think, was that the season after we got 5th, or was that the season we got 5th? It was there or thereabouts. Biggest league win, that was after I was involved. Obviously, I mean, would a team managed by me on this game get 5 goals? Biggest defeats, that's 1928. Highest scoring game, that was by me. Highest scoring league game, that was me as well. 5 goals, okay, fair enough. Most games won in a row. Any of these records change. Most games without losing, that was a record that was broken after I left, but most of these other records stood. Top goal scorer is still Nicholas Bettner to this day. Most goals in a match is still Stephen Milne. That's like my first game in charge or something, or one of the first games I had in charge. Most assists, Willie McLaren. Nathan Forbes had the highest average rating ever. That was after I was involved, but it was a player I signed, so credit where credit is due. Anyone else? Gareth O'Connor is still the youngest player. Olivares is still the oldest player. Now, he moved to Dunfermline as manager. Is he still in charge? No, is he manager of Peru? Good on him, I guess. So he was manager of Dunfermline after he left us, and then he went to be manager of Peru in 2019. Highest transfer income was me. Just want to point that out. Although, to be fair, that was the season before I got sacked, so maybe that contributed to it. How's Jan Meyer doing, actually? Ooh, he's at Atlanta. He moved to Anderlecht and then Atlanta. Has he been capped a bunch? Sort of. That's it, I think. That's all I can find. Right, that'll do it. So, from what I can deduce, I did far better than Paul Sturrock and all the managers that came after me, so that's good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do another video, but this time I'm going to do 10 saves, I'm going to sim them all, and I'm going to see how St Johnstone did from the start of the game with the squad that I had, and we're going to see if they can stay in the Premier League for 7 seasons. I'm going to see if they can, win the Champions League, unlikely, or if they get relegated. How do they do, and compare it with my achievements, because I think that'll be interesting as well. And particularly in this game, because it's obviously a lot harder, and I wasn't clearly amazing. I mean, I did far better than some of these guys did, but these guys being the AI. But I think there's still some comparisons to be had there. So I'll do that for the next video. Until then, thank you very much for checking this out. I'll see you later.